Morning, everybody. It is Sunday, September 4th. Sunday, September 4th, 2022. It's time for morning devotions. It's unusual for us to do this on a Sunday, but trying to catch up, and probably not going to be able to do it tomorrow because of where I will be. There won't be good phone reception. So I want to make sure that we're keeping the pace so that we can indeed finish the whole Bible again this year for the 6th time. Coming to you live from Harrison and Locust. So I have these signs out this week. Got a pair of them. And I'll explain why I have those signs out and why now here in a minute or two. But I'm going to wait a couple of minutes, see if anybody logs in to say good morning. Bill. Yeah, I had a great gospel conversation this morning, Bill. So I'm standing here, I'm crosswalking at Harrison Locust, and a car pulls up, stops along the curb right here, and a young man driving named Gage. There was a young lady in the front passenger seat. There was a young lady in the back seat and a fourth person. It was hard to discern who all was in the back seat because the windows were pretty tinted. But Gage stopped and said, "Hey, do you have a good word? Do you have a word of encouragement for me today?" And I said, "Sure. Do you want to pull into the parking lot?" And he said, "Well, I don't have much time." So I gave them gospel tracts, knowing that if I didn't get the whole gospel out before people started honking their horn because they were stopped in the middle of the lane, or before they decided they had to go, at least they'd have the full gospel. But in God's providence, it is Sunday morning. The traffic is pretty light. And so I was able to proclaim the law and the gospel to everyone in the car. And they thanked me. And that thanks seemed to be pretty sincere. And so the Lord allowed me to start the Lord's Day with the proclamation of the Lord's gospel. So I'm very, very happy about that. So the reason I'm out here this morning, and if you hadn't seen Bill, hi Brian. Brian, I used to, when I lived in Southern California, I was a member there. But for the last 6 years, almost 6 years, I've lived out here in Davenport, Iowa. So I'm now a member of Grace Fellowship Church here in Davenport. So I did a reading yesterday afternoon because I spent the first half of the day yesterday out at Nate and Sue's ponds doing some pond management for them, taking a bunch of tiny bluegill out of the waters. Caught 120 fish yesterday, and then I took the ladies to a movie. Yesterday was National Movie Day, and my ladies like movies, and so we went out to a movie in the afternoon. And so then when we got home, I did morning devotions reading yesterday. We read 3 more chapters, and that brings us now to Jeremiah chapter 46. Jeremiah 46. For anyone who's new with us, I'll be reading out of the Legacy Standard Bible, the LSB, Legacy Standard Bible. If you're on your computer and you don't have your own copy of that translation, which is probably most of you, open up a second window. Don't close this one, or you'll be reading alone. That's okay, but figured you'd stopped here to read with us. Open up a second window on your computer. Type read, R-E-A-D, .lsbible.org, read.lsbible.org. And then when you get to that page, type Jeremiah 46 in the search window. Click enter, and that'll take you to the text. Follow along as we read. And when we get to the end of the chapter, just simply click on the right arrow at the bottom of the page, and that will move you right over to the next chapter. So, all right, so this week, and I've been doing this now for the last couple of years, but this week, in fact, some of them are coming now, it seems like. So what I've started doing over the last few years, this week, I will have these signs out. I've replaced the free Bible and stop for prayer signs that I have in my A-frames with these signs: honor to whom honor is owed, Romans 12:10 and 13:7, 1 Peter 2:17, with the numbers 343 with a red background and 71 with a blue background. Hard to believe that there are people living today who may not know what those numbers represent. It has been 22 years, 21 years. So those numbers represent 343 firefighters who were killed on 9/11 responding to the terrorist attack at the Twin Towers. And the 71 with the blue background represents the 71 police officers who were killed that day responding to that terrorist attack. And that's right, Bill. That's right. And so that's what those numbers represent. And so I will have these signs out with me all week as I am crosswalking. And I'm hoping, as has happened each year, I'm hoping that people will stop and ask, well, what do those signs mean? What are those? I've had people ask, is that a Bible? Is that a Bible reference? What is that? And there are firefighters and police officers who are now working the streets, serving our communities, who were born that year. 21 is typically the earliest someone could serve on the streets in law enforcement. And same in most places with firefighters, although it might be a little younger for firefighters. But yeah, there are people working as firefighters and police officers who were born the year that happened. So all right, we are going to begin our reading this morning in Jeremiah chapter 46. We're going to get right to it. I've been out here since about 6 o'clock, about an hour or so. I've got just a few hours before church. So programming note, good chance I won't see you in the morning simply because of reception. Now, if we start at one pond, I think I will have reception. I will be able to do morning devotions, and we will do it. But if not, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it this morning and why I did it yesterday afternoon, to make sure that we're trying to keep pace. Finish. For those of you who might be watching, stumble upon us on a Sunday morning, this is our 6th year of reading the Bible cover to cover. For me, reading it aloud. This is the 6th year that we've been doing this. So, all right, we're going to begin our time in a word of prayer. Yes, I caught 120 fish yesterday. About 110, about 100 of those, 100 to 110 of those went right into the bushes. How I'm helping? No, I didn't have, no. I really wanted to focus on the task at hand. Nate and Sue have been so gracious to me over these last few months, allowing me to fish whenever I want and take fish and bring people onto their ponds. And so yesterday I really wanted to focus on helping to cull a bunch of fish out of their ponds. The reason I didn't have the camera, snarky man, the reason I didn't have the camera is that most of the bluegill I caught were only about that big. And that's part of the problem. Their ponds are overrun with tiny bluegill. And it's stunning the growth of the other fish in the pond. So out of the main pond, their 5-acre pond, I pulled out about 75 small bluegill. Only one would have been big enough to keep, big enough to eat. And then out of the second pond, the island pond, pulled out about 30. And I threw 7 big ones back in, hoping to catch those and keep those and clean those tomorrow. Also caught 8 bass that were in the slot, 12 to 15 inches. But until they get the final report from the pond management company, They've asked that we not harvest any more bass for now until they get that final report. So that might be a few weeks away. But in the meantime, they want me to pull as many bluegill out of their ponds as possible, keepers or non-keepers, just because there are so many of them. So since I knew I would be catching mostly uh, aquarium-sized bluegill yesterday, and I didn't really want to worry about turning on and turning off the camera, I just left the camera at home and got to work. So yeah, in about 5.5 hours time, I caught a total of about 120 fish, one at a time, no net, a worm and a bobber. so so I'll have the camera back tomorrow. Matt and I are going back out tomorrow morning, since I'm anticipating some keeper bluegill tomorrow, and of course we are going to get into the bass again, just catch and release and see how many of the tagged bass we could catch. I'll have the camera back on tomorrow. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, all right, let's get started. Hey, John. Good afternoon, brother. Let's begin our time in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, this is the day that you have made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And this is the day, one of 52, that your people set aside to worship you corporately together. There are only 52 holy days for the Christian, and it is every Lord's Day. So, Father, we are thankful for this day. Thankful, Father, that a few of us can gather together this morning to read your word, continue reading through the major prophets. And, Father, as we do that, I pray that, Lord, you would edify us. Father, that you would prepare us for today's corporate gathering of your people. And that, Father, you would receive the reading of your word as worship for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, Jeremiah chapter 46. God's word tells us this. That which came as the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah the prophet concerning the nations, to Egypt concerning the military force of Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, which was by the Euphrates River at Carchemish, which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, struck down in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. Arrange the shield and large shield, and draw near for battle. Harness the horses, and mount the steeds, and take your stand with helmets on. Polish the spears, put on the scale armor. Why have I seen it? They are shattered, they are drawn back, and their mighty men are crushed, and have fled to refuge without facing back. Terror is on every side, declares Yahweh. Let not the swift man flee, nor the mighty man escape. In the north, beside the river Euphrates, they have stumbled and fallen. Who is this that rises like the Nile, like the rivers whose waters toss about? Egypt rises like the Nile, even like the rivers whose waters toss about. And he said, I will rise and cover that land. I will surely cause the city to perish, as well as its inhabitants. Go up, you horses, and drive madly, you chariots, that the mighty men may go forth. Ethiopia and Put, who seize the shield, and the Lydians, who seize and bend the bow. Indeed, that day belongs to Lord Yahweh of hosts, a day of vengeance, so as to avenge himself on his adversaries. And the sword will devour and be satiated, and drink its fill of their blood. For there will be a sacrifice to Lord Yahweh of hosts in the land of the north by the river Euphrates. Go up to Gilead and obtain balm, O virgin daughter of Egypt. In vain have you multiplied remedies. There is no healing for you. The nations have heard of your disgrace, and the earth is full of your outcry. For one warrior has stumbled over another, and both of them have fallen down together. This is the message which Yahweh spoke to Jeremiah the prophet about the coming of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to strike down the land of Egypt. Declare in Egypt and cause it to be heard in Migdol. Cause it to be heard also in Memphis and Tahpanhes. Say, take your stand and get yourself ready, for the sword has devoured those around you. Why are you mighty ones thrown down? They do not stand because Yahweh has thrust them down. They have repeatedly stumbled. Indeed, they have fallen one against another. Then they said, rise up and let us return to our own people and land of our birth, away from the sword of the oppressor. They call out there, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, is but a rumbling. He has let the appointed time pass by. As I live, declares Yahweh, whose name is Yahweh of hosts, surely one shall come who looms up like Tabor among the mountains, or like Carmel by the sea. Make your baggage ready for exile, O inhabitant of the daughter of Egypt, for Memphis will become a desolation. It will even be turned into ruin and without inhabitants. Egypt is a pretty heifer, but a horsefly is coming from the north. It is coming. Also her mercenaries in her midst are like fattened calves, for when they have turned back and have fled away together, they did not stand their ground, for the day of their disaster has come upon them, the time of their punishment. Its sound moves along like a serpent, for they move on like a military force, and come to her as woodcutters with axes. They have cut down her forest, declares Yahweh. Surely it will no longer be searched out, even though they are now more numerous than locusts and are without number. The daughter of Egypt has been put to shame, given over to the hand of the people of the north. Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, says, behold, I am going to punish Ammon of Thebes and Pharaoh and Egypt along with her gods and her kings, even Pharaoh and those who trust in him. I shall give them into the hand of those who are seeking their lives, even into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hand of his servant. Afterwards, however, it will be dwelt in like the days of old, declares Yahweh. But as for you, O Jacob, my servant, do not fear, nor be dismayed, O Israel. For behold, I am going to save you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob will return and have quiet, and be at ease with no one making him tremble. O Jacob, my servant, do not fear, declares Yahweh, for I am with you. For I will make a complete destruction of all the nations, where I have banished you. Yet I will not make a complete destruction of you, but I will discipline you with justice, and by no means leave you unpunished. Chapter 47. That which came as the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah the prophet concerning the Philistines, before Pharaoh struck down Gaza. Thus says Yahweh, behold, waters are going to rise from the north and become an overflowing torrent, and overflow the land as well as its fullness, the city of those who inhabit it. And the men will cry out, and every inhabitant of the land will wail, because of the noise of the galloping hoofs of his valiant steeds, the quaking of his chariots, and the tumult of his wheels. The fathers have not turned back for their children because of the limpness of their hands, on account of the day that is coming, to destroy all the Philistines, to cut off from Tyre and Sidon every ally that is left. For Yahweh is going to destroy the Philistines, the remnant of the coastland of Caphtor. Baldness has come upon Gaza. Ashkelon has been ruined, O remnant of their valley. How long will you gash yourself? Ah, sword of Yahweh, how long will you not be quiet? Withdraw into your sheath. Be at rest and stay still. How can it be quiet? Yahweh has given it a command. Against Ashkelon, against the seacoast, there he has assigned it. Chapter 48. Concerning Moab, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, woe to Nebo, for it has been destroyed. Kiriathaim has been put to shame, it has been captured. The lofty stronghold has been put to shame and shattered. There is praise for Moab no longer. In Heshbon they have devised calamity against her. Come and let us cut her off from being a nation. You too, madmen, will be silenced. The sword will follow after you, the sound of an outcry from Horonaim. Devastation and great destruction. Moab is broken. Her little ones have made their cry of distress heard. For by the ascent of Luhith they will ascend with continual weeping. For at the descent of Horonaim they have heard the distress cry of destruction. Flee, escape with your lives, that you may be like a juniper in the wilderness. For because of your trust in your own works and treasures, even you yourself will be captured, and Chemosh will go off into exile, together with his priests and his princes. A destroyer will come to every city, so that no city will escape. The valley also will perish, and the plateau will be destroyed. As Yahweh has said, give wings to Moab, for she will flee away, and her cities will become a desolation, without inhabitants in them. Cursed be the one who does the work of Yahweh with a slack hand, and cursed be the one who restrains his sword from blood. Moab has been at ease since his youth. He has also been quiet. He has also had quiet, like wine on its dregs. And he has not been emptied from vessel to vessel, nor has he gone into exile. Therefore he retains his flavor, and his aroma has not changed. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, when I will send to him those who tip vessels, and they will tip him over, and they will empty his vessels and shatter his jars. And Moab will be ashamed of Chemosh at the house, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their trust. How can you say we are mighty warriors and men valiant for battle? Moab has been destroyed, and men have gone up to his cities. His choicest young men have also gone down to the slaughter, declares the king whose name is Yahweh of hosts. The disaster of Moab will soon come, and his calamity has quickly hastened. Mourn for him, all you who live around him, even all you who know his name. Say, how has the strong scepter been broken, a staff of beauty? Come down from your glory and inhabit the parched ground, O inhabitant of the daughter of Dibon. For the destroyer of Moab has come up against you. He has ruined your strongholds. Stand by the road and keep watch, O inhabitant of Aroer. Ask him who flees and her who escapes, and say what has happened. Moab has been put to shame, for it has been shattered. Wail and cry out. Declare by the Arnon that Moab has been destroyed. Judgment has come upon the plain, upon Holon, upon Jaza, and against Mephaath, and against Dibon, Nebo, and Beth Diblathaim, and against Kiriathaim, Beth Gummel, and Beth Meon, and against Kirioth, Bozrah, and all the cities of the land of Moab, far and near. The horn of Moab has been cut in pieces, and his arm broken, declares Yahweh. Make him drunk, for he has magnified himself against Yahweh. So Moab will wallow in his vomit, and he also will become a laughingstock. Now, was not Israel a laughingstock to you, or was he caught among thieves? For each time you speak about him, you shake your head in scorn. Leave the cities and dwell among the crags, O inhabitants of Moab, and be like a dove that nests beyond the mouth of the chasm. We have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud. Of his haughtiness, his pride, his arrogance, and the exaltedness of his heart. I know his fury, declares Yahweh, but it is nothing. His idle boasts have accomplished nothing. Therefore I will wail for Moab. Even for all Moab will I cry out. I will moan for the men of Kir Heres, more than the weeping of Jazer. I will weep for you, O vine of Sibmah. Your branches stretched across the sea. They reach to the sea of Jazer. Upon your summer fruits and your grape harvests, the destroyer has fallen. So gladness and joy are gathered up from the fruitful orchard, even from the land of Moab. And I have made the wine to cease from the wine presses. No one will tread them with shouting. The shouting will not be shouts of joy. From the outcry at Heshbon, even to Elialah, even to Jahaz, they have given forth their voice. From Zoar, even to Horonaim, and to Eglath Shalishah. For even the waters of Nimrim will become desolate. I will make Moab cease, declares Yahweh, the one who offers offerings on the high places, and the one who offers offerings in smoke to his gods. Therefore my heart moans for Moab like flutes. My heart also moans like flutes for the men of Kir Heres. Therefore they have lost the abundance it produced. For every head is bald, and every beard cut short. There are gashes on all the hands, and sackcloth on the loins. On all the rooftops of Moab and in its open squares there is lamentation everywhere. For I have broken Moab like an undesirable vessel, declares Yahweh. How shattered it is, how they have wailed, how Moab has turned his back. He is ashamed. So Moab will become a laughingstock, an object of terror to all around him. For thus says Yahweh, behold, one will swoop like an eagle, and spread out his wings against Moab. Kirioth has been captured, and the strongholds have been seized. So the hearts of the mighty men of Moab in that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor. Moab will be destroyed from being a people, because he has magnified himself against Yahweh. Panic and pitfall are coming upon you, O inhabitant of Moab, declares Yahweh. The one who flees from the panic will fall into the pit, and the one who climbs up out of the pit will be caught in the pitfall. For I shall bring upon her, even upon Moab, the year of their punishment, declares Yahweh. In the shadow of Heshbon, those who flee stand without strength. For a fire has gone forth from Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sion, and it has devoured the top of the head of Moab and the scalps of those who rumble. Woe to you, Moab! The people of Chemosh have perished, for your sons have been taken away captive, and your daughters into captivity. Yet I will return the fortunes of Moab. In the last days, declares Yahweh, thus far the judgment on Moab. Chapter 49. Concerning the sons of Ammon, thus says Yahweh, does Israel have no sons? Or has he no one who can take possession? Why then has Malcolm taken possession of Gad, and his people settled in its cities? Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, that I will cause a trumpet blast of war to be heard against Rabbah of the sons of Ammon, and it will become a desolate heap, and her towns will be set on fire. Then Israel will take possession of her possessors, says Yahweh. Wail, O Heshbon, for Ai has been destroyed. Cry out, O daughters of Rabbah, gird yourselves with sackcloth and lament, and rush back and forth inside the walls. For Malcolm will go into exile together with his priests and his princes. How boastful you are about the valleys. Your valley is flowing away, O faithless daughter, who trusts in her treasures, saying, who will come against me? Behold, I am going to bring dread upon you, declares Lord Yahweh of hosts. For all around you and each of you will be banished headlong, with no one to gather the one who flees. But afterward I will return, the fortunes of the sons of Ammon, declares Yahweh. Concerning Edom, thus says Yahweh of hosts, is there no longer any wisdom in Teman? Has counsel been lost to the understanding? Has their wisdom decayed? Flee away, turn back, inhabit the depths, O inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring the disaster of Esau upon him. At the time I punish him. If gatherers came to you, would they not have gleanings remain? If thieves came by night, they would ruin only until they had enough. But I have stripped Esau bare, I have uncovered his hiding places, so that he will not be able to conceal himself. His seed has been destroyed along with his relatives and his neighbors, and he is no more. Leave your orphans behind, I will keep them alive, and let your widows trust in me. For thus says Yahweh, behold, those who are not under judgment to drink the cup will certainly drink it. But are you the only one who will go completely unpunished? You will not go unpunished, but you will certainly drink it. For I have sworn by myself, declares Yahweh, that Bozrah will become an object of horror, a reproach, a ruin, and an imprecation, and all its cities will become perpetual ruins. I have heard a message from Yahweh, and an envoy is sent among the nations, saying, gather yourselves together and come against her, and rise up for battle. For behold, I have made you small among the nations, despised among men. As for the terror of you, the arrogance of your heart has deceived you, O you who dwell in the clefts of the rock, who sees the height of the hill. Though you make your nests as high as an eagle's, I will bring you down from there, declares Yahweh. Edom will become an object of horror. Everyone who passes by it will be horrified and will hiss at all its wounds. Like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah with its neighbors, says Yahweh, no one will live there, nor will a son of man sojourn in it. Behold, one will come up, like a lion from the thickets of the Jordan, against an enduring pasture. For in an instant I will make him run away from it, and whoever is chosen I shall appoint over it. For who is like me, and who will summon me into court? And who then is the shepherd who can stand against me? Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh, which he has counseled against Edom, and has purposed, which he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely they will drag them off, even the little ones of the flock. Surely he will make their pasture desolate because of them. The earth is quaked at the noise of their downfall. There is an outcry. The noise of it has been heard at the Red Sea. Behold, he will mount up and swoop like an eagle and spread out his wings against Bozrah. And the hearts of the mighty men of Edom in that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor. Concerning Damascus, Hamath and Arpad are put to shame, for they have heard a bad report. They are melting away. There is anxiety by the sea. It cannot be quieted. Damascus has become limp in their hands. She has turned away to flee, and panic has taken hold of her. Distress and pangs have seized her like a woman in childbirth. How the city of praise has not been forsaken, the town of my joy. Therefore her young men will fall in her open squares, and all the men of war will be silenced in that day, declares Yahweh of hosts. I will set fire to the wall of Damascus, and it will devour the fortified towers of Ben-Hadad. Concerning Kedar and the kingdoms of Hazor, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon struck down, thus says Yahweh, arise, go up to Kedar, and destroy the men of the east. They will take away their tents and their flocks. They will carry off for themselves their tent curtains, all their goods, and their camels, and they will call out to one another, terror on every side. Run away, flee earnestly, inhabit the depths, O inhabitants of Hazor, declares Yahweh. For Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has taken counsel against you, and purposed a purpose against you. Arise, go up against a nation which is at ease, which inhabits its land securely, declares Yahweh. It has no gates or bars. They dwell alone. Their camels will become plunder, and their many cattle for spoil. And I will scatter to all the winds those who cut the corners of their hairs, and I will bring their disaster from every side, declares Yahweh. Hazor will become a haunt of jackals, a desolation forever. No one will inhabit there, nor will a son of man sojourn in it. That which came as the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah the prophet concerning Elam, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah, saying, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, Behold, I am going to break the bow of Elam, the finest of their might. I will bring upon Elam the four winds, from the four ends of heaven, and I will scatter them to all these winds, and there will be no nation to which the banished ones of Elam will not go. So I will shatter Elam before their enemies and before those who seek their lives, and I will bring calamity upon them, even my burning anger, declares Yahweh. And I will send out the sword after them until I have consumed them. Then I will set my throne in Elam, and cause king and princes from there to perish, declares Yahweh. But it will be in the last days that I will return the fortunes of Elam, declares Yahweh. All right, we're going to stop there, and we will pick up, Lord willing, tomorrow, maybe tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow afternoon, in Jeremiah chapter 50. I think I was able to broadcast from what's called the Island Pond the other day, and so I think we'll start there so that I could do the broadcast. So we will pick up in Jeremiah 50 tomorrow. Jeremiah 50. All right, let's see. Anyone else log in? Chris, good morning. Just Bill and Chris, huh? And Brian. All right. All right, well, hey, I hope you all have a blessed Lord's Day today, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Pray for me while I'm out here. I'll be out here for at least another hour or so before I have to head home to get ready for church. So love you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.